This is Apostle Paul addressing the churches of Galatia. As I begin to think of this text that God brought me to, he brought me back to this many times to encourage myself, that many of us on this Christian journey, being the 11th month of this year, closing out another year, many of us have got tired. In this text, his strength is available. It says in the text, and let us not be weary. How many here have ever got tired and weary? You don't have to act like everything has been good every day and that you got strong every day. Many of us have got tired and we have got weary. Many of us made this trip this morning tired and weary. It is bad enough to be in a rat race, but sometimes it seems like the rats are winning. We live in a society that is moving at such a rapid pace that weariness is the rule and not the exception. Many of us, we work 12-hour jobs, very few hours to sleep, less prayer time. Many of us, our children, have multiple activities that keep us going and going and going. Unfortunately, this also applies to our walk with God. Yes. Reading our Bibles and praying, giving our tithes and our offerings, being faithful to the services, and helping in ministry. Many times we grow weary. No wonder many of us have said, I quit. Just this year, many pastors, now I'm not just talking about lay members, pastors have quit. And some even went to the point where they committed suicide because they had just got to a point where they was just tired and weary. There was a time when people got tired and when people got weary that people picked up and the spirit and seen what was going on, and out of nowhere they called and checked on people. But now many of us we so caught up in our own things, and many of us are weary. Your prayer partners are weary. Your friends that you used to get count on weary. Pastors are weary. Deacons are weary. And we living in a time now where the whole church has got to a point where we just tired and weary. Many of us are tired of just going through the same motions after motions. Even the 3- and 4-year-old children know what's going to happen next in the service. There was a time when the Holy Ghost broke out in service and the Spirit got to moving. You never knew what would happen. You had to get away from the program. But now church has become a program, and we stick to that program. 12 o'clock, pastor better sit down. It's time to go home. And we leave feeling the same way that we came. Weary. The word weary means to be weak or to fail. The Apostle Paul wrote under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit and said, let us not. Don't be weary. Don't be discouraged. Don't be despondent. How can this be possible in the world in which we live? Because there is a strength that is available. There is a strength for every task. There's a strength for every trial. There's a strength for every day. I'm reminded of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and 9. It says, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glorify in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. In those very times when we weak, that's when God is strong. Many of us, we feel like we got it all together and we don't need God. But there has been those times where I felt like I couldn't do nothing. That's when God showed up and showed me something. Psalms 23 and 4, it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Philippians chapter 4 and 13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthened me. This is why I have a problem with people. They begin to talk these talks now, talking about they're self-made and they did this on their own and they did this on their own. You can't hold your urine on your own. You can't blow your nose on your own. Who you think that gave you the air to blow through your nose, to blow your nose? We can't do nothing on our own. But we can do all things through Christ. Our service is is expected. The text says, in well doing. Is it well doing or doing well? Listen to this. God has not called us to well doing. God has called us to well doing, not doing well. Most of us, we put our efforts in doing well. God is not impressed with our fine cars, our nice homes, our designer clothes. Or for you authors, how many books you may write. He is not impressed with our buildings or our budget. The Lord let us know what he is interested in. And it's in this text. If you scroll back up to verse 1, it talks about restoring the fallen. Verse 2 talks about sharing burdens. Verse 6 talks about meeting the needs of God's servants. Verse 10 talks about ministering to others. Many of us, we are in a position where the reason why we are down the way we feeling, the way we are, because we got all of our business, all of our motives, all of our things that we got wrote down. It's all about us. Yes. And it's not about helping our fellow man. Many people, the only reason they're motivated in this Thanksgiving season to do good deeds is because they can put their good deeds on Facebook. We can put our good deeds in the paper. We can talk about what we do. I heard a preacher say this, and it really was something that I began to think about. He said, what you would have gave, he said, dear preacher, what your church gave out those 24 turkeys and those 30 dinners that you done if you had to leave your camera in the car. Many of us are driven off of showing people what we can do. Right. This is what I have learned. We can be busy doing the wrong things. As a believer, we must constantly check our focus and make sure it's where it needs to be. We are not saved by good works. Many of us, we talk about what we have done. I've done this, I helped this one, and I helped this one. And that's all well and good, but we're not saved by our good works. But the lives of those who are saved are expected to be characterized by good works. Matthew 5:16, it says, let your light shine, so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. Our purpose is to glorify God. Whatever we're doing is supposed to be giving glory to God. I heard also, I was reading some last night that really began to deal with me. And I had to pray about this thing before I even could get into rest last night. The preacher was talking about many times when you see flyers. He said, and he was talking about flyers that's supposed to be talking about the church. And he said, the biggest thing on the flyer is the pastor. And he began to say, dear pastor, it's what you're doing is to glorify God and to build a brand that edifies God, or is it all about you? I began to sit back and I began to think about this thing. Is what we're doing is to glorify God, or is it to glorify ourselves? Many people are trying to build personal ministries in God's house. Many of us are trying to build personal brands in God's house. When we lose sight of that, then that is when we get discouraged. I have found out when we get discouraged and we really get weary and when we get worn down, it's not because we're doing the work of God. It's because we got something else going on that's taking up that personal time that we should have with God. Amen. God's business is not what wears us out. Coming to church is not what wears us out. Many of us, we got too much on our plates. They said that what we should eat is a portion size. A portion size is what you can put in the palm of your hand. Many of us, our lives, our plates have begun to get full. I heard a talk and everybody was agreeing with it and they felt like it was so deep because who said it? He said if your plate is full, get a bigger plate. I began to think about that and I said that doesn't make sense. And I said, Lord, is this true? God began to take me back to a natural thing and he began to show me about proportions of food. Many of us, the reason our plates are so full because we got a lot of stuff going on that we don't need to be doing. Right. Some of us are trying to get 3 degrees at one time, trying to take 4 kids at 3 or 4 different events. They playing baseball, they playing basketball. We got all this going on. We trying to be in this social club and this social club. And next thing you know, you can't make it to Bible class. The next thing you know, you can't make it to Sunday service. The next thing you know, you're too busy to do the things of God. You're too busy to do the things that meant the most. Now you don't have time to take your wife out on a date. Now you don't have time to cook for your husband. Now you don't have the time to do the thing that really means the most. And next thing you know, you got a plate full of garbage. Many of us, we walked in a level of gluttony on Thursday. We fill up our plates with all kinds of stuff. Yes, it tastes good. A lot of stuff, it feels good and it's fun. But there's a whole lot of stuff keeping us from the things that we should be doing. Yes. This is why many of us, we come into church, we so wore out, we can't come in with expectancy because our Saturday nights depleted us of all of our strength. I remember growing up, when I was young, that my mother had us to go to bed early sometimes on Saturdays. She said, because we need to be fresh when we get up. She said, y'all need to be fresh when you come to Sunday school. She said, because you guys got to be an example. I grew up in a house where my mother was a preacher. And she said, you guys got to be an example. So you guys got to sometimes sacrifice like we sacrifice. So y'all got to go to bed early so we can be the first ones there at Sunday school. Many times, doing the right thing, it calls you to sacrifice some of your time. And just like we talked about at our church last week with Matthew 6:33, seeking ye first the kingdom. We begin to put God's business first. He'll take care of everything that we desire. God, he has no problem with you wanting to go on a vacation. He has no problem with you wanting to go on a cruise. All he wants you to do is get your priorities right. Many of us, we don't have money problems, we have faith problems. We begin to put our faith into action. We begin to walk by faith and not by sight. All of the things that we desire, God, he has no problem with giving it to us. Right. He wants us to ride in nice cars. The devil is a lie. Did he feel like the only way you can be saved, you riding in some with the engine light on? 400,000 miles. But the devil is a lie. He wants us to have the best. Why can't I pick the truck out that's coming off the truck? Why can't I go in and pick one off the showroom floor? God wants us to have the best, but he wants our priorities to be in order. It's some stuff God wants to bless us with, but he don't want us to make a God out of it. There's money that God wants to release to his people, but some of us, we couldn't handle it right now. Because money is not a God, it's just a tool. It takes money to do anything, but it's just a tool. But when money begins to rule us, it begins to take over our minds and our thoughts, sometimes God will withhold some stuff. I can't give it to you right now. You ever had a child in your house where you wanted to give them something? I can't give you the ice cream right now because you hadn't cleaned your room. Right. God is telling some of us, I can't release that good stuff to you right now because you hadn't cleaned your room. My God. What are you saying, preacher? You hadn't worked on some stuff that I've been dealing with you about. Yeah, many of us, we got the church thing together. We can come in and we can praise the Lord with everybody and it looks real good. We got that together. We got that together. But many times, it's just a masquerade. It's just a mask. Many of us are hurting. Many of us are broken. And now, that's what happens many times. The altar has been open many times. But many of us, we won't come to the altar because pride has got in the way. We don't want nobody to know what's going on. People can see what's going on. Many people can see, if you got 5 masks on, they can see through all 5 of those masks. And many of us, we have got to a place where we are just tired of just going through the motions. I have got to the place where I'm just tired of church as usual. Are you just tired of coming to church and nothing is really happening? The church was designed from the beginning to be a place of miracles. Miracle signs and wonders shall follow them that believe. In the house of God, this real success is anticipated. For in due season, we shall reap. But many times we look for instant gratification. We want what we want and we want it now. Many of us, we have temper tantrums, and God don't give it to us right now. I'm not going back to church. I'm not giving no more. Because they told me if I sow a seed, I'm going to reap a harvest. We're looking for it right now. You ain't never planted corn and went out there the next day and pulled corn off. You ain't never planted a watermelon seed and went out there the next day. Sometimes God will turn that thing around quickly, but sometimes we got to wait. That's how many of us have got in bad relationships because we picked the first thing that came through. And what I have learned many times, the imposter comes before the real. The imposter looks good, the imposter shines, the imposter got muscles, he got the hair just like you like, but you better wait on God.
Yeah, Lord.
Yes, it says in the word that he that findeth a wife. But you better make sure, God, is this the man that you sent to me?
Yeah, Lord.
We're looking for things instant, we're looking for it quick. We live in an express lane. Many of us, and I tell you, Walmart will test your patience sometimes. When you go in Walmart, it'll get you frustrated when you sit in line. But some of the best conversations me and my wife have ever had was standing in line at Walmart. I tell you, you can have a long conversation sometimes, standing in those lines. But sometimes God is wanting us to just slow down. Everything, we want everything quick. That's why we live in towns where we try to put 10 lanes in. You put those 10 lanes in and they'll still be just as bagged up, and now you got 10 lanes and we still frustrated. Because we want everything quick. People used to leave on time to go to work. Now we leave at the last second. And we drive 100 miles per hour to get to work, and if it's just one thing happen on the road, we late. We live in as I said, an express lane. We deal with microwave dinner, instant potatoes. Some people was disappointed on Thursday because they had stovetop stuff. We deal with concentrated orange juice. I did some research on this because I like to know stuff, and I wanted to find out when was how did they start drive-through windows? Because I know restaurants didn't have drive-throughs at first, and what happened was when the soldiers, way back when the soldiers got back from war, they had on their uniform, they couldn't go out in public, and what they done was they came up with an idea to put a window on the side of a restaurant where the soldiers can come through and pick up their food. That's how the drive-thru started. But many of us, we can't wait on food. That's why all we eat is McDonald's. We can't take the time to go sit down and wait on it to cook it. We can't go home and we can't buy groceries no more and wait on it to be cooked. So now we're getting everything in the microwave.
My Lord.
I'm not coming home from work after a long shift and hear a microwave say, ding! No. No. If it ain't heating up something been cooked already, we don't do hot pockets. But this is the thing, we want everything quick. And even when I cook too now. Even when I cook, I don't do microwave hot pocket stuff. I cook a little bit. But cooking causes you to wait. That's why many people was frustrated going back to Thanksgiving again, because we had to wait on the food. Many people, the last thing you wait on the cornbread, you ain't doing that cornbread yet. It takes a little more time to cook it than Jiffy. Jiffy is quick. We want everything quick though. I remember a time when we didn't evolve from this where we wanted even our pictures quick. We had to go get the 1 hour development, and we surpassed all of that. High-speed internet, cell phones, text messaging, everything quick. We want it now. 10-minute oil change. They talk about how many cars, motors have been messed up going to 10-minute oil change because they're trying to do things so quickly. Sometimes they don't tighten the seal up. And many cars have been messed up over the years because what happens is, it usually takes about 2,000 miles before that oil gets so thin that it starts leaking from where they had twisted things up. And you can't do that to them then. Hey, you can put 2,000 miles on it now. But we want everything quick. But God doesn't operate on our time schedule. We try to put God on the time schedule. God, if you don't do it for me this week, I'm going to backslide.
Wow. Wow.
And you might not say you're going to backslide, but when you don't show up to church because God didn't give you something that you wanted, you have backslid. That's why he stresses it in his word that he's always married to the backslider. Because some of us backslide every other day. I was on the stretch one time where I was backsliding about 2 or 3 times a week. I would just be real. Lord, you didn't do it for me this week. I want you to do it for me now. You ain't did it for me. Well, I ain't going to study my word. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. He's like, okay, that's on you. It's my will that all men will be saved, but that's on you. So anytime you withhold money, you don't give what you're supposed to give, you don't show up because you mad or you in your feelings, that's on you. But many of us have been doing good. Many of us have been striving to do what's right. And we are at a place now where we are just tired. Many of us, we are just wore down. God has been dealing with me so much since I've been pastoring. He said, be patient with my people. One time I was frustrated one morning because it was time for church to start, and I didn't see nobody. And God spoke to me. He said, son, chill. That's what he said. He said, chill. You didn't want to get up this morning. Many of us are beating people down over stuff that we're really not motivated to do. He said, when people see you motivated, they'll become motivated. One day I was telling my children to clean up the house, and I was telling them what to do. He said, son, what I want you to do is get that same broom that you handed to your son, and you start sweeping first. And when I began to start sweeping, automatically he got the dustpan and hold it out, and I began to sweep, and then he took the broom from me and started to sweep. We have to lead this thing by example. So if you're at a place where you're tired, where you're weary, and you wore out, it's time to reevaluate your life. Lord, what am I doing that's wearing me out? The enemy wants you to feel like it's your dedication to the church. He wants you to feel like it's your dedication to your home. Because do you know your home is your first ministry? He wants you to feel like you're doing too much at the house. He wants you to feel like you're going to church too much. Many of us, we don't go to church but 2 or 3 times a week at the most. But if we could just dedicate ourselves to the church and the things of God like we do our jobs. If God was giving out awards today, like your job give out for dedication and attendance. I'm not talking about me because I don't have the power to rank you. But if God was standing right here today, with your relationship with him, what would he say about you? You know, on Facebook, we put married, and if we mad with our mate, we put it's complicated. Would God say it's complicated when he was talking about you? Or would you even be on his friends list? Would he have a block on you? Or would you have a relationship with him to the point that you're on his top 5? These are the things that we should reevaluate this morning. We are dedicated to so many things. Many of us, we get awards for all kinds of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But where do you rank with God? God, he's a jealous God. He said, I have no other God before me. So if you put your job ahead of God, that's your God. Many of us clock into our God. We clock out to our God. We'll work 4 hours over at the last minute if they tell us to. But if the church said we're going to pray for an hour after service, I can't do it. I got something to do. But we'll change our plans for our job. I'm guilty of it. I done done it before. My job told me I had to work Thanksgiving. I was upset, but I hit the clock. God wants us to be that dedicated and more for him. And we really sell out to God like that. The things that we desire, you know, biggie. And many things that we really begin to see God that we think we won't even want no more. Because some stuff that I wanted before I really came into the knowledge of God, I don't even want that no more. There are some people and places I wanted to go, I don't even desire to go no more. And it's not because I don't want to live my best life, as we say. It's because, my taste has changed. That's why some of you, since you've been coming to church, people say you acting funny. No, you ain't acting funny. Your taste have changed.
Yes,
You don't have a taste for garbage no more.
Yeah.
You don't have a taste for negativity no more. You don't have a taste for y'all can't do that. Why you going to church over there? Why y'all always at church? You don't have a taste for that no more. And sometimes your family act funny. Some of you was around family just this holiday, and they said, why you acting funny? Because I don't want to get in that garbage conversation no more. Because I know if you talking about my sister that didn't make it for Thanksgiving, I know you dogged me when I didn't come for Christmas. Yeah, you ever been around family, they talk about everybody that ain't there? So that lets you know when you didn't show up last week, they dogged you too. So sometimes you have to distance yourself from these people. You might not be able to make every event no more. I just can't deal with it. I love you from a distance. I can tell you Merry Christmas FaceTime. There's some people you can't even FaceTime, you just got to text them. I'm just being real. I know some animation to it, but I'm being real. There are some family members, they just group text family. You can't send them no individual text. and you just only get it all over at one time. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you want to go ahead and complete January too, Happy Martin Luther King Day too. Just go on and get it all over with. There are some people that we got to disconnect ourselves from.
Yes.
It's not that you don't love them. It's some people you can't even feed with a long handle spoon. You ever seen them people feed them alligator with them sticks and the alligator end up pulling the stick and almost trying to pull the person in that's feeding them. There are some people you just got to throw it to them and run. It's real.
That's right, sir.
This is why some of us are so tired. It's not because it's not the things of God, it's what we connected to.
Yes.
It's who we connected to. It's who we dealing with.
Obey him, sir.
I was one day at work. This is a perfect example. Listen to this. I was at work one day and a young man got off and it was his second day. Listen to this. That I had to jump his car. Listen to this. He said, Gabe, I already knew. I said, your battery dead. He said, yeah, man, can you jump me off? I cranked my truck up, hooked those cables to it, and immediately it began to drain my battery. I said, hold up. I said, there's something greater that's going on with your car than a weak battery. I said, because now you draining my battery.
My God, sir.
Some of us have been connected with people that you were doing good until you connected with them again. But those are called ungodly soul ties. Some of you hooked back up with folk that they came back into town this week and there was a whole love. All they did was tell you a hello and you said a hello back. Now you feeling some type of way again. There are some people that you got to cut that thing and burn it on both ends. You can't relate with them no more. You can't. If they send you a happy Thanksgiving, go ahead and block it. Don't send it back, because when you send it back in the spirit, you can connect it back with them again. All they want you to do is say thank you. Oh, babe, I looked at your picture of you and your husband, and you look so good. They want you to say thank you. When you say thank you, they know they got you back on their mind, they got you back again. Some people, they got to disconnect that thing. The guy that started Facebook, Zuckerberg, and he's not even saved, and he knew that some people we need to block. That's why he put it on there. we talk about the people that started Android and Apple. They're not saved, but they know there's some people that you got to block. There's some people you just can't hit that red button, that call button, and drop the call. Some people you got to block. I had a preacher call me one time, and he was telling me all kinds of stuff and talking about other pastors, and God said, hang up on him. Don't say another word. Hang up on him and block him. He went straight to my Facebook and sent me a message. I had to block him on there. I said, Lord have mercy. Boy, he talked. And the next day, out of nowhere, I seen him in the store. I said, Lord, I know if he opened his mouth, I'm going to have to block him in public. He said, Paul, I can't get over with you no more. I said, I had to cut some stuff off. He said, so your phone cut off? No, baby, my phone good. Had to cut him off. There's some people that some of us need to cut off. That's why we're tired. That's why we wore out. That's why we feeling the way we feel it. Because who we connected to? Draining the life out of us. That's why our lights won't shine. When I jumped that guy off that day, my lights wouldn't even want to come on. My check engine light, everything was blinking inside. That's a hold up, man. I got to disconnect from you. He said, man, put my car on crank. I said, I'll take you home before I hook my cable to you again.
That's something.
So he got in his feelings and I left him there. I got to get home. Either I can take you with me, or you're going to have to stay where you at.
I see you, sir.
Can you hear what I'm saying? Some people, either you're going to go the way I'm going,
But we're not going.
or we're going to disconnect. You done made up your mind you're going to live for God. Either you're going to live for God with me, or you got to go. There are some people that we've been with for a long time. Anybody that beats you down because you want to go to church, that beats you down because you open up your Bible, but you can open up a book of garbage and they with you, it's kind of cut loose. Because what means more to you, your walk with God, or having somebody to walk with you? Because if they're not pushing you to be better, they really not walking with you anyway. Because look, how can two walk together except they agree? And some people, we got to get to a point, I love you enough to let you go. I love you enough to let you go. I love you enough not to deal with you no more. I love you enough enough not to invite you in my house because you want to go through stuff and touch on everything. You have to watch some people, they want to come all in your house and all through your